I am gonna give you guys some of the best secrets that I even know, right? And we're gonna do that today, and I hope it helps you guys. You guys probably recognize a lot of these logos. These are companies that brought us into the fencing industry after working with the Nikes and the Disneys. And so that's how we became acquainted with the fencing industry, and that was cool. But about 6 years ago, Active Yards asked us to take some of their top dealers that they had around the country, including Sean King, Mr. Fence, and a whole bunch of other folks, and said, hey man, these guys need better websites, they need to rank better, we want to sell more product, can you help these people? And that is when we learned about the different side of the fence industry, more like y'all here, whereas local fence contractors that are busting your butt, digging holes and putting fence in the ground, not the big manufacturers. And that's when we fell in love with the fence industry. Before that, it was corporate, it was client, now it's friends, now we really just fell in love. There's no other way to say it. So we work with a whole bunch of fence companies all across the country, east to west, north to south, Canada, whole deal. We're all over the place. And then some of those folks down there, you might recognize Mr. Fence, Mark Olson from SWI, Tony Thornton, the former executive director here at AFA, Joe Everest, Matt Warner from My Salesman. If you are online, we're in a social media kind of class here, right? So if you are online social media wise for the fence industry, you're listening to podcasts, you're going on the Facebook groups, all that stuff, you must know all those guys. And we're very happy to say that they are friends and clients of ours as well. And I show you all of that because we have a full agency, 33 of us, dedicated to fence and only fence. That's all we do. Fence websites, fence marketing, SEO, all that stuff. That is all we do. All fence, all the time. We care about fence, we love fencers. I want you to know that because the stuff, everything I'm going to tell you is actual data, actual stuff. This isn't theory, this isn't what I think might be true. This isn't what's true in the roofing industry or the insurance industry, but I don't have a clue how it might apply to you in your situation. This is applicable to you. Without further ado, let's tear into this topic of social media. So, this is true, not just the social media, but if there is anything in your life that you want to achieve at a higher level, you probably need a really good strategy, but you probably need even better execution. Can I get an amen on that? The strategy is important, but the way you execute the strategy is critical. And I think sometimes because we're so beat up, you guys work hard, I know you do, and sometimes it's just like, damn, it's just not working. And you didn't stop grinding when you built your fence company, and you can't stop grinding when you're working on digital. You got it. It's the same mindset. So you need to know that it's a grind. It doesn't come easily, right? But it comes. It absolutely comes. All right, let's focus on the strategy first. So it's going to sound basic at first, but it's going to get real pretty fast. So these are some of the topics we're going to talk about with this first part about the strategy part. We're going to dig into some execution stuff as well. So what is your goal? Man, it sounds like such an easy question, and it is so hard. If I sat down and said, what is your goal for doing social media? You might have great solid answers, but most of the time I find it's a little bit more nebulous than that. It's a little bit like, well, I feel like I should do it. We don't do it enough, and all that. And that's all fair. It's all good. But you need to know, because, and you'll see why in a second. So some very reasonable goals is I want to sell. I need to sell product, right? I'm slow. I need to sell more fence. I need to sell more pool fence. That's fine. That's a perfectly good goal. Is that your goal, right? I want to expand into new markets. Man, I've been doing fence, but now maybe residential fence, but I'm moving into ag fence. I'm moving into commercial fence. We're doing more with gate operators this year. This is kind of a new market segment. Maybe you've opened up a new location, or you're planning, and you're actually ahead of the game, God forbid, and you're planning to move into a new location, open a second office, right? And so now all of a sudden we want to know, maybe we use social media to soften that market a little bit for us. That's a great goal. Is that part of your goal? Attract more high-quality team members. This is a big one. I'm going through this list because somebody in this room might be like, dude, I have not ever thought that would be a good way to do this. So let's give each other some grace, because different people need different things. So we hear all the time, it's hard to get good help, right? Yeah, I see a lot of nods on that one. So to make it a little bit easier, social media is a great way to do that. Now you have to use the right strategy. If that's your strategy, if this is a need that you have to attract more high quality help, then make sure that you're working that in the execution of your strategy. We'll talk about some ways to do that, but that, you need to know. Communicating with your existing customers. There's a couple that we're gonna have to gloss over. I'm gonna hopefully we get back to over at the end maybe, but that's one of them. There's some really good strategies for that. We're gonna hold off. Support your sales process. Conversion rates are a big deal right now. Traffic's a little bit slower. We hear it all over the country, right? Not as many phone calls. We gotta do a better job converting those sales. We've been order takers for a long time. We've been playing the numbers game for some years now, right? Sales have been easy for a lot of fence companies. Phone rings, I do my deal, maybe I come out, I give you an estimate. If I don't hear from you, you might get one call back if you're lucky, and then I'm on to the next guy who seems to be a little bit more serious about it, right? I hear that kind of story. It's nobody's fault, but that's what has happened because for the last X number of years, sales have been easier. They're not as easy right now. That's the story I'm hearing from around the country. So we have to grind a little bit. Our sales process has to be a little tighter, a little more effective. Social media can play a big part in that if you're using it properly, right? So what does that look like? Hopefully we could dig into some of that. Sales funnels, automation is not exactly the same thing. Anybody use automation software for sales? So let me say this before you raise your hand. Somebody, they contacted you. You went out, you gave an estimate, you did whatever it is. Maybe you didn't go out. Maybe they did everything online, My Salesman, they get an automatic estimate, whatever. Whatever your process is. But how many people have an automated system going that after that happens, they get drip emails, if I haven't heard from this person in 3 days, they're gonna get a message automatic. If I haven't heard from a week, they're gonna get another message from me automatic. How many people have that? Okay, not enough. Good job on you guys that do, right? Now, part of that process, and I'm not gonna dig into all this, is not just an email. Hey, you ready to buy yet? Hey, you ready to buy yet? A week later. You ready to buy yet? 2 weeks later. You ready to buy yet? Man, that gets old fast, right? So we have to be a little more effective than that, right? But if you're more effective than that, and you actually bring value to them, hey, last time we talked, I don't know if we really hit home about the warranty situation. We offer a lifetime warranty on all fences except for wood. Now for wood, we guarantee that's gonna split, warp, crack, and twist, but other than that, right, we have a lifetime warranty on everything else. You may not know that. Here's the details of our warranty just in case you care, right? That brings value to somebody. Hey, you had asked, think about this one. Hey, you asked me about whatever, shadow box, wood fence, cedar. That's what I gave you an estimate for. You asked about it. It just turns out we just finished a beautiful job just like that recently, right? We don't lie. Recently could have been a day ago, a week ago, a month ago, 6 months ago. What is recent? You did it, and you did it recently. Just thought you might like to see that project. Came out beautiful, right? Holy crap, that might do it. So there's some good ways to do it through email marketing, automation, but it also ties to your social media because that same content that you created can be applied to social just as easily as you then repurpose it in other places. There are performance objectives. I want to double our followers. I've heard that. We call these ego objectives a lot of times. These tend to be dude objectives. I'm sorry guys, but it's true. I want to double my followers. I want 10,000 followers, right? I want 100 likes. Every time I post something, I want 100 likes. If we're not getting 100 likes, we're not doing a good enough job. Well, so these are performance. How am I performing in posting? How are my posts performing? So these ego objectives are rarely effective. They're just not effective. They feel good. I'm a business owner. Man, I love an objective that I could put a number to. I want to double my followers in the next 6 months. I can measure it, it's specific. Man, if we hit it, then I'm feeling good. The only problem is it didn't move the needle on my sales, so was it worth doing, right? Performance objectives like that do feel good to us as business owners and managers, but those kinds of objectives tend not to be effective. So towards the end of this, I'm gonna show you some things that might be a better way to handle it than just doubling my followers. So if you do not have a well-defined goal, if you can't sit here right now, and that's okay, if you go back at some point, if you can't be super clear about some of the stuff I talked about and some of your own stuff, it doesn't have to be off my list, right? But if you don't have a well-defined goal about exactly what you want to do, what you want to achieve as a goal, and you can't clearly articulate it, you're not gonna reach it. You're not going to. And you can't communicate it to the people that are gonna be working for you. Again, we're talking about managers. You're trying to manage something, you need to be able to communicate it first. That's the first step in managing, right? The people that are gonna be in charge of executing it need to know what the hell they're doing, right? So you have to be clear. You can't outsource that. These are your goals. You need to know what they are. You have to articulate it. So because over time, you might have someone in the office who you're like, Cindy is the person that's in charge of doing this stuff. And so Cindy, go do better. Well, we gotta do better so Cindy could do better. We gotta give her a better goal. But maybe Cindy gets a helper later. Maybe Cindy goes out on maternity leave and now it's Sally that's in charge of it 3 months later, 6 months later. Does Sally know what she's supposed to be doing? Because Cindy barely knew and now Sally certainly doesn't know, right? Like if you don't have it articulated and clear, you have a problem moving forward. Let alone if you hire an outside agency. You hire an outside agency, .com's got 33 people. You think you were clear with me, what about the other 32? How do I communicate to them? Like, it's a serious situation. You gotta be clear about it.